You're listening to the Joe Camo Show. Real sports, real talk.
All right, I'm beyond excited to introduce Devin Ratray. You guys may know him as Buzz from Home Alone, and this is a very exciting episode for me because a 12-year-old self in me is really giddy and excited. Welcome to the show, Devin. What's happening?
You very much, sir. How are you?
I'm beyond excited, man. I started the Joe Camo Show planning to interview people in sports more or less, and then now it's kind of branching out. I had Ken Shamrock on, I had some players and other people on, rappers now, and now you. I just reached out to you on Instagram. I'm like, listen, I was a fan of Home Alone. I still am. I just wanted you on. I wanted to talk to you, man. There's so many questions for you.
Well, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much for your continued interest since 12.
Listen, I mean, what an iconic movie. I got to ask you, first of all, what are you doing these days? And then I got some questions because I went to my Instagram audience. I'm big on Instagram. So I basically said, I'm having Devin on the show, AKA Buzz. You're known as Buzz. The world knows you as Buzz, such an iconic character and movie. I said, I'm going to have you on the show. Do you have any questions for me? So I got a list of questions. You don't have to answer them all. I left all the rude ones out. You know, they're asking silly, ridiculous questions, which I'm not even going to, put on here. But again, that's a sports fan base. They can be a little bit rowdy, right? So, so I got a series of questions to go here. But my first question is, what are you doing these days?
Oh, I am acting, and I'm in the film business, very much so, film and television. This year, as in 2020, last year, was a bit difficult because the whole industry got shut down. But I still managed to do a movie, which I'm still not able to talk about. It was supposed to be out for Christmas for a special anniversary of something. But because of, the world circumstances, it has been delayed. You can also see me last year in Hustlers. I know what J-Lo smells like, so I'm happy. Still continuing being a working actor.
That's really phenomenal because I listen to other podcasts, big fan of Joe Rogan and other shows. And they always talk about, child actors and how, their career falls off. But I'm looking at your resume here. I mean, Blue Bloods, you've been on Person of Interest. You have a huge resume of shows you've been on. Now, the thing is, it's so hard to ignore Buzz because it's like I was talking to Jaleel White before on DM too, Steve Urkel. A lot of people know him as Steve Urkel, but when he goes to these Comic-Cons, he doesn't come out as Steve Urkel. Is this something that you're trying to avoid, or is this a character that you're embracing? Say, I was Buzz. I love this character. That's what helped make me who I am today. Is it something you embrace or something you're trying to avoid right now?
It's actors continuously, inhabit new roles and new characters. So it's a little bit, it's a little, dangerous is a hyperbolic word, but it's a little dangerous to get stuck in one character, in one mode, particularly, if you want to do other things. I have, Buzz was and is an iconic character in a film that's become a legacy. So I acknowledge it, and I pay tribute to it as well. And especially around the holidays every year, people really get excited and want to talk to me, and they want to know all about it. And I absolutely embrace that. I know that the movie it's become more than a movie. It has become an actual, it's become, linked with, family memories, families and, kids who are now adults and showing their kids, like, they really identify with this movie. And I'm very proud and pleased to be a part of that. Do I, walk around saying I'm Buzz? No, I don't. But when people find that out, it sure is a gas for people.
Does it
find out.
get like does it get annoying after a while? Like okay, let me tell you something. I do fantasy football. When I first got into fantasy football, it was so exciting. I was in it. I still love fantasy football, but it doesn't give me that magical feeling. I keep getting bombarded. Who do I start this week? Who do I play? What Joe, can you give me advice? It's like constant. My DM is inundated. I've got about 10,000 pending DMs. Does it get would you say it gets annoying? Are you kind of fed up with it? Or do you kind of embrace like kind of if I said, hey, buzz to you, or I walk up to your street, you're like, okay, enough with the buzz, or have you kind of had enough, or do you still kind of enjoy that kind of fame to it?
It is it is absolutely something that is going to happen.
Right.
So I have two choices, to deal with it. It is going to happen. So I don't get mad at or annoyed at somebody for the first time meeting me and being excited. Um, I certainly don't have my friends do that or call me Buzz or anything. Um, I don't, reenact the movie or anything. It has, I mean, it's show business, it was and has been business. And it was a job that I did. And, it's 30 years of doing different jobs, doing other jobs. I don't know, I mean, I've, especially during when, in the last few years, as it's been coming up to the 30th anniversary, a lot of people have reached out to me much more on social media, and I mean all over the world, and they're completely they're fascinated with still the film, and I'm fascinated with the effect that it has had on people for so long. I mean, there's only a handful of movies in creation that have ever had such a
Yep.
lasting effect. So, the movie is bigger than my ego. The
Right.
movie has become more of um, an experience. It's not just a film. I don't think people are going to be, pointing out to me, hey, you're the guy from Rough Night, or
Right.
something. Hey, you were in Mosaic. Those are just pieces. Those are jobs as well. It has become, a very distant memory. But now I relive the memory through other people, which is odd. So it's odd to have other people remind me of scenes or stuff that I may have forgotten, or reliving it through Instagram, messages or GIFs, or T-shirts. I mean, there's
Right.
a lot of things that I'm continuously surprised by.
As an outsider, because I'm not you, I wasn't on the set. It's such a magical movie, and I grew up losing my dad in 2015. It was a movie we always went to. Makes you feel warm in your heart. When you turn on that movie, it's Christmas time. There's nothing that makes you feel like a kid again till you watch that movie. It's such a magical movie. So that's, I guess, the feeling that people get when they see you and see the movie. Again, I'm just talking as an outsider. That's what I feel. Was the set magical? Did it feel magical when you were doing, or did it just feel like a job at the time? How did it feel? Because it feel like such a warm family then. Was it warm on set, or did it actually feel Christmassy, or did it actually just feel like a job at the time?
Uh, it was, I mean, Christmassy, not exactly, because we started shooting in late January. But there was definitely, it was unlike other jobs that I had done before then, and since then. There was absolutely a feeling of community and almost family that Chris Columbus had provided. He knew that the family connection within the film that it was going to be integral for the audience to connect, and he had a very familial way of working with us. And the second one, that was a bit more magical and Christmassy.
Really?
uh, oh yeah, that one for sure. That kind of had a feeling of I get to wake up and go shoot this and get paid. Like, that was because we knew what we were doing by then, and we knew that that everybody wanted us to make it, and we also had four times the budget,
Right.
which uh, making a movie with money is so much easier and so much more fun. And it was going back to meeting all the people that we become friends with, in the first one. The second one did have very much I would say magical feeling about it. Yes.
I want to ask you some questions about the movie because that's what a lot of people ask. And again, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but they're hypothetical things. So, for example, this is the biggest question that people ask all the time: what did Kevin's dad do for a living? What did your dad? Because that was your dad, Buzz's dad. What did he do for a living? This is a question that people have had theories about and ideas. I have my theory, which is creative. My wife and I actually came up with a theory. But was there an actual role that his dad had, or did you know?
Let's hear your theory first.
Okay, so I wondered about this. A lot of people say he was a mobster. This and that. I don't think so. So if you actually look, if you go down to the basement, he had a lot of statues, right? Like a lot of figurines. And that's what Kevin used in the thing, right? So we came up with this, and I have heard nobody else say this. My wife pointed out, I think he was a fashion designer. I mean, he had to be. Had all these models. Who carries around all these models and figurines and these statues in their house? Does that make sense?
And of course, who dresses more stylishly than Mr. McCallister?
That makes sense.
Very interesting that you picked up on that and that you pointed that out. They were mannequins for that. Those were actually the backstory and what was originally in one of the earlier scripts. Those were Mrs. McCallister's.
Okay.
She was a fashion designer, seamstress. She was in the fashion world.
Okay.
And so those were all hers. That's obviously, because, you don't really have a whole lot of mannequins and whatnot. But that was in an earlier draft of the script to explain why.
Yeah.
And we never went into it. But again, in earlier scripts, if you notice, Kevin was really had a great plan for to take out the bad guys.
Right.
Had mapped this out on architect paper, and it was the fact that Mr. McCallister was an architect, and he had inherited some of these designing plans from his father, apparently.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so dad is an architect, mother a fashion designer.
Okay, that explains it, because that was a big question a lot of people ask. I think you've clarified. I don't know if have you ever clarified that on any other show or no?
Never once. First time asked.
That's good. That's what my fans do. We dig down to the facts. We do fantasy football. We're very statistics driven. We want to know the facts.
Yeah, you guys get in there. You guys get deep. Because
so
the time we were like, why are there so many creepy mannequins in the attic and in the and
the older I get, the more I study the film. It's actually, my wife goes nuts because she's like, just shut up and watch the movie, because I drive her nuts. Like, for example, when you guys woke up that morning to leave, right? That kid, that must have been early, because I think you guys slept in. You might have slept in maybe a half hour now. Let's say, we don't know. But that kid was out on a cold day asking, does this have four-wheel drive? That kid that came up to the truck and it was miscounted as Kevin, right? There's so many things that if you'd watched it once, and if it wasn't such a legendary movie, because you watch it every year, you pick up on new things. What was that kid doing out at like 7 a.m., dressed up? Like, where were his parents, right? It's crazy.
He, well, I'm okay with an 8-year-old just getting up and walking around on Christmas vacation early, because they don't sleep and they just want to get out if they don't have school. A lot of snow on the ground, the snow day, going anywhere. The McCallisters across the street, the big house with all the brothers and sisters.
Maybe visited
them and just wanted to hang out with them. And he wanted us to bring him back something French.
Okay. But there's so many weird theories. Like, how was everybody on vacation too? There's so many things. I could sit here all day. I mean, why was everybody on the street on vacation? That was another weird thing, right?
Christmas.
That's it. There's so many different things, but again, I just don't want to take away from that feeling of that war. There's so many things, but again, it's such a modern time. Now we have cell phones. It'd be hard to shoot that movie now, right? With cell phones and technology, that's what makes it so magical, right?
Certainly would be a different film being shot today. There would have to be, there would be loads of ways to get the cops, call the cops if, someone was entering or coming close. And that may or may not be dealt with in the near future. The whole film, yes. I mean, you think about how quickly society changed once the internet, broke. And this was 1990 when it wasn't. But of course, by 94, most college students had emails and whatnot. Things changed completely, very rapidly.
Right.
If the movie was made in 1980, it wouldn't be very different from 1990. Um, the film could have been made in 1980. Made from 1990, it could not have been made in 2000.
No.
The 10-year difference between a lot of the decades, it could have been made in 1970.
Right.
And it wouldn't be a whole lot different, but it could not have been made any later.
Now, are you friends with the cast? Like, do you keep in touch with any of them? And it says there when you cross promotion or talk with guys like from the Christmas Story, have you connected with any other famous Christmas movies? Is there any crossing and connection with any of these people still from the cast?
We are the only Christmas movie, my friend. I'm sorry.
Christmas Story it gives you a good rival. I think that not a rival, but a good. I think those two. I'm torn between which one. I think Home Alone gets the edge, though, for sure.
Well, Christmas Story's been around for longer, and that was the movie that was played all Thanksgiving Day on one of those cable, on like TBS or something, on a cable network. And then Home Alone came along and took over. It was A Wonderful Life before Christmas, and then Home Alone took over, and then Disney bought 20th Century Fox, so now you can't watch. They don't show Home Alone so much anymore.
Right.
This year they went back to Christmas Story, which I love the movie. I got to work with Darren McGavin. As far as like crossovers, like all the like Christmas movie actors don't just like hang out in a club.
Okay, now we understand that. I thought you may have connected with them or something like that.
I mean, I guess nowadays there would be there would be chat rooms. Pardon me, I'm sorry.
No problem.
There would be much more of a niche for that nowadays. And people, the fans of movies have so much access to actually organizing things cross country, organizing meetings, and I haven't done that. I haven't done that so much at all, actually. I've never done a Comic-Con or any one of those like meet and greet signings.
You talk to Kevin much, aka McCauley?
No. Mac is Mac. We were friendly for a couple of years after the movie. When I started college, we drifted apart. I'm in New York and he's in LA. The Home Alone cast has not. We're respectful and like each other very much, as far as I know. But we have not. We don't get together every Christmas and watch the movie.
All right, so a couple more questions here before we go. I got to ask you this again. When that scene in the auditorium, real quick, okay? A lot of people think Buzz was being a bit of a dick. Well, the thing is with parents, why would they be laughing at that scene? Is this something that like they want to formulate Buzz to be this real jerk kind of character? Because that's something that like, again, everybody, Uncle Frank laughed at him. You're making fun of, Kevin, you did the whole thing. It was kind of technically Buzz's fault. Is this something that they said, okay, we're going to make you be like a big dick to Kevin? How was this kind of planned out for that scene, for the auditorium scene?
Well, I mean, it is, an older brother is going to mess with a younger brother. If he,
Right.
that's kind of just natural sibling love, as it were. And when Kevin has a solo, of course Buzz is going to do something to mess with him. Now you do notice the family members who laughed was only Uncle Frank.
Right.
Which, if you watch the two films, it's pretty it's pretty in character with Uncle Frank. I think Uncle Frank and Buzz would get along great.
Right.
His wife, played by Terry, I forget her last name right now, Terry, but she, was very upset that Uncle Frank was laughing, and Mom and Dad, John and Miss Catherine O'Hara, they were terrified that Buzz would be so unprofessional and so callous during it. My prank was immature and ill-timed.
Yes, it was.
It was pretty gall darn hilarious. Only get support from Uncle Frank, who's also a dick.
He was a bit of a dick.
Yeah. Oh, wouldn't want to ruin your vacation, Mr. Cheapskate. I mean, like Buzz got a lot of Uncle Frank's character DNA.
Okay, one more question about the movie. Do you think that the Buzz character would have ended up marrying his girlfriend, and why was she in the? I don't think you took a lot of pride in the girl. I understand that. I think it was one of the producer's sons or something that put on a wig for that picture, something along the line I heard. But why was the picture in the drawer thing? It was kind of hidden. It was in that chest, and then I wonder if Buzz ended up marrying that girl. Was it a serious relationship? Do you know anything about the backstory to that? Buzz, your girlfriend Wolf. Was there anything else we need to know about that?
Torrid love affair.
Is that what it was?
It was, and Buzz, doesn't easily get hurt, but she done broke his heart, and that's why he has the picture in the he get over her, but he just can't look at her every day.
Okay, that's what it was. So they weren't even together. Okay, so Kevin didn't know. All right, what's that?
A recent breakup.
All right. Is there anything else we need to know about Home Alone, or anything else that I'm missing that, people didn't really know? That's, kind of a general question, but anything else that was magical on set that we'd like to share with us, or people don't really know?
The feeling, shooting the movie, the second one particularly, knowing that there was going to be people seeing it was a great feeling. And it's the only sequel I've ever made. And the ongoing affection that people have for these films is quite overwhelming for me at times, and I take that very seriously, and I'm grateful that I was able to be part of it, and that there are such fans, people who truly like the movie and who delve into it and watch it. Clearly, you've got some. You've done some research in this, and I'm deeply grateful and respectful of being a part of this. And although I've continued to work, and I don't put down Devin Buzz Ratray on my when I sign anything, it's still something that I'm very glad that I was a part of, and I'm so thankful that the fans have appreciated it.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a magical movie. I can't express to you how it makes me feel every Christmas, even being in my 30s. I remember, again, being a kid. It still makes me feel the same way it did. It takes me back. Your character, Buzz, has been etched and engraved in everybody's DNA that has watched that movie. I can't express to you how magical it is coming from a fan and somebody who's watch these movies. So I wanted to thank you for bringing that to us. And I want to thank you for coming on the show and being humble and, exposing yourself to my fans, and hopefully they can appreciate it as well. Cause there's a lot of these questions that a lot of people are curious about, and you've really given a lot of clarity on that. I appreciate it. One last question here. This is going to be very tough to do, but I think that with me, I'm an entrepreneur, and I always think that you can really do anything you want to do. Is there a time you think a character that because you're a continued actor, which again, I appreciate you're a working actor, which is hard to do to maintain for so long. So I give you credit for that. But do you think you'll ever come across a character or develop a character or get a role that you can outdo the Buzz character? I know it's hard because that's such an iconic character, but do you feel that it's something you want to do, and do you think that it can happen?
Sure. Absolutely. Outdo Buzz, Buzz will forever be, locked in as,
Right.
The older brother bully. The project that I did with Steven Soderbergh, Mosaic, I think comes closest to what a dream role was for me. It was a limited series on HBO, and working like that with people of that caliber, in a role where you truly, had to immerse yourself in it. I think Mosaic came closest to something that I would want to do. Unfortunately, nobody saw it. So yes, you continue to, that's why I'm still acting, exploring and delving into new characters and seeing new parts and developing own parts, writing and producing my own parts. If people don't, if people don't do it for me, do it yourself.
Well, I'll be a fan. I'll definitely be looking for you for sure. One last note, at the time we record this, ironically, is January 7th, which happens to be Orthodox Christmas, ironic. I don't know if you knew that, but it's actually Orthodox Christmas. A lot of Christians celebrate Christmas today, January 7th. You can look it up. So I've been waiting my whole life to say this. Merry Christmas, Buzz.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Thanks, Devin. I appreciate it, man. It was an absolute pleasure. I'll make sure everybody I know listens to this episode. Thank you very much.
Sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.